Hey, you're about to see a free video before you're supposed to see it for real. That's because it's breaking news about Israel bombing Iran on the 20th of October. Now, if you want to get these sort of updates for real without relying on breaking news, you can sign up for our Patreon account where you'll get them all right away. And reminder that anyone who signs up before the end of October, any dollar that you would have given me until the end of the year, I give 100% to MedShare to help with hurricane relief in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. So sign up now and get this stuff every day and get a chance to participate in our community forums. All right. On with the show. Hey everybody, Peter Zeihan here, coming to you from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Behind me, that's the Portsmouth Naval Yard, which is where the U.S. Navy tinkers with all kinds of naval stuff, most notably the nuclear submarine fleet, so lots of fun stuff going on here in New Hampshire. But that's not what we're going to talk about. The news today is that Israel has launched an attack with several dozen warplanes, jets, on Iran, targeting what they said are missile production and storage facilities. There was a concern after let me back up. Ever since the Hamas assault on southern Israel back in October of last year, wow, it's been a year already, there has been a concern that the issue could boil up into a wider war. It's never something that I've been too concerned about because Gaza does not produce, transit, or consume anything except for, aid. And anyone who decides to make Gaza an issue is doing it because they have something else that they are actually after. So Iran is after regional power. The Houthis are after more money and trying to get sponsorship from the Russians, which they've had with some success. People in the United States are doing it either because they hate Jews or because they love Jews. Everyone has their own angle here, but Gaza itself really doesn't matter by any meaningful metric. It's horrible to say, but it's still true. Anyway, so as regards Iran specifically, Iran has been needling Israel in order to increase its gravitas with various populations, saying they're the only ones who are standing up for the Palestinians. But it's all about publicity. But the Israelis are a little sensitive, so every once in a while when the Iranians do something, the Israelis feel that they have to strike back and hit harder than they were hit. So after the attack last April, when the Iranians didn't simply launch 300 weapons, they called the Swiss embassy first and said, hey, tell the Jordanians, the Americans, the Brits, and the Israelis that we're launching these weapon systems from these places on this schedule, and this is their flight path, and please shoot them all down. Because they wanted it to look good, but they didn't actually want to hurt anything that was going to trigger a real response. And, it worked. The biggest damage was a pothole in a taxiway. And then the Israelis responded in a few days by taking out a single air defense system near the Iranian nuclear facilities in Isfahan, trying to underline that, we could have done so much more. Fast forward until last month, was it last month already? Well, recent weeks, the Israelis launched another couple hundred missiles, this time without the warning. Damage was very, very light, but Israel felt compelled to respond, and the concern was whether they'd go after the nuclear weapon sites in nuclear research sites. Iran doesn't have a weapon. Or the oil offloading facility, which is something I've talked about in previous videos. Today, when the Israelis attacked, it was clear that was not the issue. They went after purely military targets, and it's unclear at this point how much damage they were able to cause, but the Israelis have already declared the matter closed, and the Iranians have already said that the damage was light and no further escalation is necessary, although they reserve the right to react proportionally, which means we're still in this holding pattern that we've been for the last year, where everybody's trying to have the last word and still use the Palestinian issue as a crutch to prop up whatever issue they care about. So this is not the end of the story. The risk of a wider regional war remains low because nobody has a vested interest in it, and keep in mind that Israel and Iran, if they really decide they want to go at it, they can't do all that much more than what they've done. Iran's capacity to attack Israel at scale and with precision is very limited. Their weapon systems don't have that kind of accuracy, and the Israelis have arguably the best theater missile defense in the world. If the Israelis want to go the other direction, there are some single-point failures within the Russian system. Karg Island for the oil sector, or the Iranian refineries, which if they were taken out could really cause some domestic problems for the mullahs in Iran. But the weapons systems that the Iranians are developing in their nuclear field are too dispersed, too far away, and too hardened and too many for Israel to meaningfully damage them, much less eliminate them without extensive outside help. It's an open question, even if the United States had multiple aircraft carrier battle groups in the region, if the U.S. could do it. There's just that many targets. So we are unfortunately still in the holding pattern, and hopefully this is where it will stay. Because the two countries can only do so much damage to one another, it's just easier to work via proxies. The Iranians like to work via Hezbollah. That hasn't been working as well lately since the Israelis have basically decapitated the group and are now involved in an open-ended war in Lebanon as well as Gaza. And going the other direction, the Israelis have always preferred political assassinations, going after nuclear scientists who just happen to be a little bit too useful. I see no reason for that to change. The only concern I would have is if a third party from the outside manages to independently stir the pot to trigger more than would happen normally. I mean, what we're seeing right now, this is what negotiation in the Middle East looks like. It's frustrating because it seems so pointless to everyone on the outside, but this is just how business is done here. That third party, if it's going to be anyone, is going to be Russia. Because anything that sparks a crisis anywhere in the world is something that keeps attention off of Ukraine. And so the Russians have a vested interest in doing it. And so the newest information that has leaked out just in the last few days is that the Russians have been actively supplying the Houthis of Yemen. Those are the guys that have been launching missiles and drones at shipping in the Red Sea. The Russians have actively been supplying them with satellite recon to help them target civilian vessels, which is a violation of what handful of treaties the Russians are signatories to that they haven't abrogated already. Should the Russians be able to stir some shit up in this region, you know, we would all notice. And that is absolutely what they are attempting to do. But on its own druthers, the Iranian-Israeli situation, for the moment, remains about as calm as it can be, considering. All right, take care.